ESL
Yeah,
Challenger
whatever it
Sydney,
is.
Melbourne. Let's
That
go.
big event in Melbourne that's going to happen. That's what we're here for. That's what the teams are looking to qualify for. And we're back again for the second day of the qualifier, which is also the final day of the qualifier. So this is where things get a little bit more interesting, right? Obviously, we get a rematch between VERTEX and Aftershock, and we're going to get to see how that sort of all plays out. So we'll jump into the pistol, which I believe is already underway, and catch up with all the action already. Hugh and Valhalla have gone down, but for now, VERTEX obviously getting off to a good start, and I think that is very reminiscent of what we saw yesterday between these two teams.
Yeah, we'll see if Aftershock can start to turn around this 3-on-5. Taking their time in long. You've already got a CT in Suicide, though. That's kind of an issue. The dualie's out for Malta, and he's completely whiffed it. Hasn't been able to put that one away, and unfortunately now that's one man going down on that CT side, and Aftershock now have a fair bit of map control. They've denied info to the CTs. They have the freedom to kind of do whatever they want from here. You can see very, very safe positioning from all of these CTs. Up on Car, up on Goose, back Plat, just shoulder spotting in middle for a little bit of info for PZ. So he's at least going to spot them going up Cat and give a little bit of time for Brace to get himself in a better spot.
Well, PZ's going to be hearing all of those footsteps, and he's recognizing exactly what is headed in his direction. Does pop a flash behind himself and get himself into B, but that kind of leaves Brace high and dry a little bit. Looks like Aftershock are still interested in heading towards that B bomb site. They've already lost a player to Vexite, and Valiant's two quick taps to the head will put that round in the bin for Aftershock, and VERTEX picks up the pistol.
Good start on that CT side. Exactly what you'd want to be seeing. We didn't really talk too much about the vetoes, so for all who are unaware, assuming that HLTV is correct today, I can't tell you what the veto is because it's on HLTV. Oh, there we go. I refreshed and it just updated. So Aftershock picked Dust2, VERTEX picked Vertigo, and Inferno's left over.
Yeah, so a little bit of a change up from yesterday. Overpass was the first map yesterday, the choice of Aftershock. They've obviously gone ahead and made a bit of a addendum to their veto process, but obviously the rest of it is looking pretty similar, and VERTEX will be quite happy to be seeing Vertigo back in there as well. They were very dominant on, to be fair, both maps yesterday, but Vertigo obviously being their map choice, you know, looks pretty good for them in this particular matchup. But I think we were maybe a little bit disappointed by what we saw from Aftershock yesterday in the match that we got to watch. They did seem to turn it around a little bit in that second series. Obviously, we were covering the upper bracket match, so we didn't get to see how that one played out. But I think maybe a little bit of an underperformance yesterday from Aftershock, maybe a bit of a slow start in the tournament. Kind of hoping for a little bit of a closer series today.
Yeah, me too. I think there's definitely plenty more to see here for Aftershock. Love the jugglings of the HE nades into CT spawn for someone to kind of, you know, throw those in towards short later on if they're thinking that they are losing that cat control. Bit of a bonus here. Starts off absolutely beautiful for VERTEX. Really nicely timed. Molly does a lot of damage, and that's a complete shutout on that long A control that Aftershock have attempted in their first gun round. VERTEX now in an excellent position to be closing somewhat of a bonus here. Unless Aftershock can do some digging with nothing but AKs and armor, no util, no nuance to this round. It's just going to be raw aim and good spacing from the T's to get it done, if they're going to get it done at all.
Yeah, and I suppose this is exactly the start that we don't really want to be seeing in this series for, I suppose, the health of the series. If it's going to be like this, if VERTEX is going to get away with rounds like this, maybe we're going to see a very similar result to yesterday, which would be more or less a complete and utter drubbing of Aftershock by VERTEX. Now, Malta does at least go down, so that is one inroad being made. Hasn't been able to put much on the board yet today, but you have to say, with players like Vexite, Valiant, Brace, all kind of firing from the outset once again, hard to see them losing this round.
Yeah, most likely. I think PZ currently is the highest rated player in the tournament right now, so good person to be keeping your eye on. And again, he delivers, able to catch Ricky trying to sneak up Cat with the bomb there. Brace re-aggressing into Cat. Hughes doesn't know what bloody coast code he's in. He's got his knife out, spinning around in circles, and look, Valhalla picks one up on long, but they know his position. They know where the bomb is down, and with 20 seconds on the clock, you're bloody dreaming if you think he's going to be winning this one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for VERTEX, almost best case scenario, they don't even have to take a fight here, and they can just ensure that they take these three guns through. An AK has been retrieved. And yeah, a decent set of upgrades, I guess, for VERTEX in a sense, right? They take those two M4s through, they're able to pick up an AK, and you've won the bonus round. So money is looking phenomenal across the board for VERTEX and Aftershock. I mean, they're going to have to really dig deep if they're going to find much out of at least the early stages of this first half.
Yeah, I mean, it's worst case scenario, really. Not only is your money all over the place because one of the T's saved, but VERTEX also pick up an additional rifle in that round. So I think they entered the round with the Scout and an MP9. So ending the round with similar amount of rifles that they entered it with is going to be very good for the CTs min-maxing their economy and building up things nice and early on. Just keeping their money nice and stable. You can see about 2+ K on almost all of their players, bar Vexite. VERTEX going to be very happy with the position they're in here early on, going to allow them to play multiple CT gun rounds, especially if they can have a Klinger anti-eco here. Really on Valhalla to try and do some economic damage in a round like this with this hero AK, and how well Aftershock can try to set him up to do so.
I mean, what really is there to set him up with, though? He's got one molly on himself. There's no flashes, there's no smokes, there's nothing to get him into any cheeky angles.
Sometimes, Jordan, you got to do it the old-fashioned way. Just knife out for the boys, send him in. They're taking the opposite approach. They're setting Valhalla first to try and find some entries and then maybe recycle the AK.
Go on, mate. You've got the gun.
I can't peek. I've only got a Glock.
Exactly.
That'd be silly.
Yeah. What could I possibly do with this weapon?
Ricky's bumping his head. Addict's going to go for a bit of a boost. Interesting to note that Addict is the one following Valhalla around. He has bought himself nothing but Kevlar. So his sole intent is literally to bait Valhalla and pick up his AK.
Seems reasonable.
That is what he's decided to do with his life. Literally a leech on society.
Well, they're making their way out into mid, slowly but surely. Smoke will fade. Valhalla is able to at least clear close. They've got a long way to go, and that timer is starting to tick on down. 45 seconds left. Bomb is nowhere near a site right now, and VERTEX, you know, they're taking this one as it comes. They're really just happy to play passively and wait for Aftershock to come to them.
Yeah, they're not burning useless nades either. Like, they've still got plenty of utility. Vexite ready to lob this nade in as soon as the exec comes in. You're going to get that palm tree flash in from Brace, and I dare say there should be a little bit of a clean up, but Valhalla's making it interesting, Jordan.
Yeah, Brace is going to have to step up here. He's got the assistance of Malta, which will make it look, I suppose, relatively comfortable.
Plant?
Ricky doesn't quite get the plant down. So
still not bad.
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
what they brought into it. Look, they take 2 guns out of VERTEX's hands. Valhalla still has 4.3 heading into this round, but this is where Aftershock need to get their ducks in a row, because VERTEX has started off this half exactly how they would have wanted to, and it's going to take multiple gun rounds for Aftershock to crack back into things, and that's not going to be an easy prospect, because we've seen from the games yesterday, VERTEX has looked much more solid on their CT side than their T side.
Well, first gun round prop up for Aftershock. Let's see what they can get done. Valhalla is about to walk into the crosshair of PZ. The flash was good enough to just put him off, but it almost looked like he would hit that shot regardless. Out into mid.
Doesn't matter what version of Dust2 you're playing, that flash is over lower dark has been like an absolute necessity. If it's 2022 and you're not throwing that flash over the top of lower dark before you're peeking, I don't know what you're doing at this point. They're going to go and take some cat control though, Jordan. Running a bit of a default dance. All the boys in mid, no one really on the extremities. VERTEX quite happy to kind of give up the middle of the map. Give Aftershock that room to work with. Ricky's got that AWP. Just work in some of those slower angles. And with the utility that they've got, they can very much run a cat execute or maybe go mid to B later on. Plenty of options still open to the T's here.
Yeah, definitely not looking like a bad round so far. Again, to point out, the CT util is still looking reasonably healthy on Brace in particular over toward B. Maybe he can start to think about working his way and taking a look at A. Perhaps that's going to be unnecessary though, because Vexite's got CT on lockdown. PZ though, missing that shot with the AWP. Makes it look a little bit more awkward than it could perhaps have been. Plant will go down. numbers advantage does still persist for VERTEX, courtesy of Malta, who goes one better and gets Addict as well. And now it once again should well and truly be a VERTEX round every day of the week. Vexite has spotted out Ricky. Bomb, of course, is planted for him. But he's got 4 players to get past, and the flashes and smokes are being sent in his direction. He'd be lucky to win this one.
Looks like it's going to be a save from him. Most likely. Smoked off. Valiant's getting on the defuse, and VERTEX, another round they win with 3 players surviving. Small little detail there is you did have the push into Hut as that A execute came in. So VERTEX, they could very much just focus on the fact that that was a bit more of a one-dimensional push straight up cat from Aftershock. All 5 players committing into mid. It's not like they ran like a 1-3-1 kind of default and threw like a dribble smoke out B and kept the information game honest on their T side. They very much did just kind of 5-man into mid, took that cat control, threw a cat execute, and tried to just boil it down in the post plant. But VERTEX keeping things diverse, this time pushing in, next side just taking control of the round, 3 for him. And Aftershock, they were thinking about running that default again, going straight up middle, and their plans have been well and truly thrown in the blender.
Yeah, I mean, that's Vexite in a nutshell, isn't it? He is going to try to cause a bit of chaos, particularly on the CT side, and he's done just that in a round like this, and now Aftershock will have that in the back of their minds in future. Malta's just going to have to jump over the flames to get back out into pits safely. This is a superb start to the map and superb start to the series, and I guess to the day as well for VERTEX, if we're looking at it in that kind of a context. We'll have another series to play after this one, whichever team does win this one.
Yep.
And
I mean, at least it's not a BO5. It's 2 BO3s. It's not the worst thing in the world, but definitely I would say a disadvantage. You know, you can argue it both ways. You can say one team gets to warm up a little bit, but if it's a very long series, the other team just gets to kick their feet up and watch exactly how you're playing on the day.
Yeah, and I mean,
pretty nice for them.
There is also a very real possibility that there's going to be a big gap in the middle anyway, so any semblance of a warm-up is probably not going to translate into that grand final anyway if you go away for an hour, 2 hours. Yesterday we had like a 2.5-hour break, something similar.
Yeah. Well, this is still winnable for Aftershock. They're getting disrupted by the util here from VERTEX. PZ swinging out behind his progression smoke, but that's going to dissipate in a second, Jordan.
Oh, Ricky does spot Brace dropping down into CT spawn, and that's a sharp shot onto PZ. That's a little bit more like it from Ricky. 5-1. Aftershock will win their first round.
I mean, he's having some great games this tournament. He's one of the higher rated players in the tournament, and that is considering the fact that Aftershock got absolutely smacked in their first series. I think he was like 2-14 on one of the games at one point, and that really tells you that when a player is that high up in the stats, when his team hasn't gone well on a series, when he's had one really poor individual game, it tells you that he's lifting even harder in the subsequent maps to follow. Yeah, bit of a slower default here for Aftershock, taking their time. That's a big round for them to be winning. That was a 2-on-4 completed by Ricky, and Addict, I think, was with him. So that's a big, big win for Aftershock, the exact kind of round they needed to convert there. Here's a chance for them to reset that CT money that VERTEX did such a great job building up early on. Really need to see them pick up this gun round and start to fight back into this half on the T side. Again, very much working the middle of the map. A little bit more presence on the extremities this time. But PZ on that deep info line towards long. They know that there's going to really not be any long pressure. So VERTEX very much going to be able to play around the middle of the map. Even after Aftershock take cat control, they're not really going to be too concerned about that two-pronged approach into A.
You got to be feeling a little bit susceptible if you're Malta here and you're having to defend mid with just an MP9. He did have a couple of flashes that he's going to toss out to buy a bit of time. Smoke's going to go down. It does look like your standard mid to be set up here from Aftershock. And Brace is going to get that info through from Malta. Takes a very nicely timed peek off of the contact. And now that B defense is really working on overdrive. Nikes down to 14 HP. Has actually managed to find the kill onto Brace, which will leave Valiant alone. His position well and truly known. And Vexite maybe just half a second too late to catch Addict as he was dropping into that B bomb site, but now does know exactly where he was, and they know they've got control of the bomb as well. So not a whole lot that Addict is really going to be able to do here. Even if he can get that bomb, unlikely he's going to be able to get a plant down. And VERTEX will do what they were doing all day yesterday against Aftershock, which is dropping one round and then answering back in kind and saying, well, it's not a big deal to us anyway.
It's a bit of a different story, though, when your opponent's on the T side and they've got this full loss bonus built up and you're only scraping through the CT gun rounds. Because when you're this far ahead, this is one of the things I dislike about the money system in Counter-Strike, that it actually kind of rewards your opponent for losing. Is that Aftershock, you can still see they're putting a fair bit of money into this round. They probably could have even squeezed in a buy here if they wanted to with like Galil and Util. And VERTEX are pretty broke and they have no loss bonus. So every gun they're losing here, every round they're losing at this point in the game has a big impact.
Well, Valiance and Brace set up nicely for this defense. Brace maybe just caught off guard a little bit by that timing, and they almost line up for Valiance. But inevitably, it is a 2 for 2, and that means Aftershock is into the site. Retake doesn't look like the worst thing in the world. You got a couple of smokes there. A flash available for PZ, Molly and a grenade or two. So they do have the tools to work with here, VERTEX.
Oh.
But Malta is a very long way away from the site. Luckily, he's not one of those players with the util, and if he comes in maybe a little bit late, it's not going to be the end of the world. Lion's share of this job, though, will have to be done by PZ and Vexite. I'd say it's
Jordan.
Probably on Vexite more than anything else, PZ being the AWPer. And indeed, it just takes a little bit too long for VERTEX to get themselves in a position to make that retake happen. They decide better of it. They'll just leave Malta to his own devices to try to find some exits, and he should get 2, probably even 3 here if Nikos goes down to the bomb. Or to Malta. Either way, that'll work. Upgrade for Malta, 3 kills on the MP9, and making the best out of a bad situation, I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, the issue, Jordan, is that, like I said, because they weren't able to hold over a bunch of guns in one of those previous gun rounds that they lost, or that they won and got very close. They weren't able to buy kit. I think PC would have had money for it, but holding on to a bit of extra cash and not having those extra couple of pieces of util, not having the money to be able to buy up a kit can actually have a bit of a effect on some of your retake ability, and that's a perfect example of it. They just didn't have a kit to be able to complete that retake. And Aftershock, even though they didn't invest everything in winning that round, that was only a half buy, just shows the age-old power of if you hit a nice timing into B, you trade down material on the T side. The B side is still a very difficult retake for the CTs, particularly if you don't have a kit to be going into it. And again, they've only got 1 kit. VERTEX, after dropping that round, investing everything into this round with only the 1900 loss bonus. So this is a big swing round, particularly for Aftershock. If they win it, they could really start closing this round gap. Straight out long is Hugh trying to find that opening pick, and he's able to do it. Does get traded down by Vexite, but takes 98 of his HP away, and Aftershock maybe feeling confident to just go straight into A here.
Oh, that might have been a mistake, though. The Molly keeping them at bay for now. PC is fighting hard and finding shots as well. It was a little bit touch and go. I kind of like the approach almost from Aftershock, but it hasn't really worked out. 2 players still in that CT spawn area, a little bit more than what they had bargained on.
Ricky got to defend long here. Finds the first shot onto Valiance. Brace very much just
He's not
baiting
expecting
him.
to.
Yeah, playing for time. That's a nice jump spot, though.
Indeed. Brace in all sorts of problems, and PZ trying to win his duel as well. This is an awkward one for these VERTEX players. Little pot flash to go in there for Brace, but he's not going to peek off of the back of it. They've really got to start to pick the pace up here, VERTEX, if they want to win this round. Brace has got to go, but Ricky, what has he just hit? I don't believe it. PZ goes for the jumping no-scope, and that is not going to connect, but my oh my. Aftershock and, well, Ricky, really, starting to work their way back into this series.
Yeah, Ricky is putting the team on his back right now. Multi-frags with the AWP in these XVXs, post-plants, have been absolutely massive. The impact and the pressure that they put on VERTEX's economy cannot be understated. It's 6-3 in terms of the score, but they have just broke VERTEX's money on that 1900 loss bonus. Even after VERTEX take this single save, the next gun round is not going to be looking that great. They're going to be like 4 to 4.5k. That's not enough money for PC to put an AWP together. That's not enough money for them to have full util, which util pretty important on that CT side if you want to fight for long control. if you want to play this delay style that we've seen VERTEX play on the CT side, where they're holding a lot of their util for the late round and just waiting for Aftershock, who, in general, from watching their games, have been playing this slower style on the T side, which is naturally going to work much, much better against these sort of 4 to 4.5k kind of buys on the low util CT side. There's a firing squad run into, and look, VERTEX gets some good damage done, but the gun diff, a little bit too much to deal with, unfortunately.
Yeah, 4 to 6. Aftershock get their freebie. See another buy through here for VERTEX, but they won't be able to afford the AWP.
Yeah, this is like one of the situations where I actually really dislike the way the economy works in CS at the moment. Is like Aftershock were kind of getting pummeled for most of this half. They made a couple of the rounds closer. They broke VERTEX's money, and now VERTEX are pretty much hamstrung in terms of their economy for a lot of this half. And Aftershock have just ballooned out in terms of their cash after only winning a couple of rounds. Like you see, 1.5 plus on most of the players. This is a full buy for them. Bit aggression coming out here for VERTEX. He's going to win. Oh, I thought he was going to win that first duel. A little bit sloppy in terms of the raw adjustment. And Valhalla as well, trading one more down. So still a man advantage here for Aftershock.
Yeah, Valhalla looking pretty good today. Had to rush home from work to make it to this game, I'm told. So I'm not sure he's had much of a warm-up time, but seems to have come into the server pretty sharp. Vexite might just find the timing here. Didn't quite land on the ledge properly, but Valiant's given a chance. Of course, there isn't much of it when you're going up against Ricky at the moment. He is hitting absolutely everything.
100%. Ricky's having a huge amount of impact, really keeping Aftershock in the game. Now we need to see some of the other boys start to get warmed up and get involved. Nikes and Hugh, bit of a slower start. Sometimes, you know, playing those T-side rifling kind of role players can feel like you're kind of getting blasted out of the server some rounds, but Ricky's bought them the space to get involved, and this is where they need to start contributing as well. Another save here for VERTEX. Harler on this long line, trying to pick the player on the cross, but VERTEX have gone ahead and taken that long control just with the pistols and Aftershock. There's no real incentive for them to force anything here. You just wait. See if VERTEX is going to give them additional picks and maybe go for this late long take after the rotation settled. They've read it very well. Flash to retake, straight out long. Just really wanting this long control because this is the high percentage play against the pistols. Keep them at arm's length, use the power of those rifles. Some nice, just high percentage utility. Smokes on the cross, mollies onto the site, flashes up over car, and you could really just bully those pistols on those long angles.
Couple of deagles here this time for VERTEX. Race, of course, also having that 5-7. Tries to get himself in close off the flash from PZ. Looked like he had a chance there. Now it'll really be down to Vexart and PZ, I guess, as Valiance hasn't gotten too much done. It's a nicely put together round, though, from Aftershock. Good aggro juggling, taking their time as well, getting up long and using all that util and making life really difficult for VERTEX. As if it wasn't hard enough with only the pistols already.
Good lead. Couple of players taking a fair bit of damage, but doesn't really mean too much at the end of the day. Aftershock well and truly cementing their economy for the rest of this half. Even things up 6 apiece after being down 6-1. A lot of that's off of how the economy functions, but also some big rounds from Ricky and Valhalla. Now a chance for them to go a little bit deeper into this half and maybe even try to get themselves an advantage. But VERTEX finally with enough cash to be able to go for this full buy. And this is where they get a whole lot more dangerous. Big long take coming in from both teams. Addict forcing his way out solo, but PZ just bangs him straight through the smoke.
Yeah, bit of a lucky one there for PZ, but not the end of the round just yet. Aftershock are moving quickly into mid. They did have Nikes going up short as well. A bit of a distraction, I suppose. When all said and done, though, the exchanges have favoured VERTEX in this round.
Yeah, not a whole lot of util left here for VERTEX, but most of it's on that B side of the map. They're just relying on that window car setup. Race having to think about a mid-round aggression into upper, changes his position towards that close left corner. Long control still in the favor of VERTEX. Gonna leave that player at car. Gonna leave one on towards blue bin. Pretty solid setup in the mid round, just leaving the middle of the map open and jump spotting those positions. Aftershock now just creeping out contact into the B site.
Ricky, he's waiting very patiently indeed. This might be a little bit of a false information though for Aftershock. They've got to worry about Brace tucked inside of this corner, and if they're looking for Valiance, they're not going to spot Brace. So unsteady from Valhalla, but timing almost didn't work out for him. Both win their duels though, and Aftershock, from a rough scenario, have just turned this round on its head, and maybe even the half. It just feels as though they have started to storm away with every single one of these rounds, and VERTEX can't find an answer.
I mean, those are the two most dangerous players in the XVXs entering it to be there. They both win those duels. Hughes still holding the middle of the map, gets a freebie. And really, like, where Aftershock have just been far and away better is in the mid to late round. The XVXs, 3v3s, 2vx, like 2v4, 2v3, they're just winning all of them. All of the post plants, all of the clutch rounds. They're coming up with the goods. Big impact from Ricky. Big impact from Valhalla. And again, they're going to put VERTEX back on this half buy. Didn't save enough guns despite being on full loss bonus to be able to put a buy together. So it's just going to probably be like pistol armor around the AWP and try to buy up into round number 15. But Aftershock, what a resurgence after kind of getting pummeled in the first couple of rounds. And this has kind of been a trend for VERTEX in this tournament. Like, even in their game yesterday against Encore, they would stomp the other team in the opening rounds of the half. And then once the other team got money control, they started to have some real issues.
Wonder how far Aftershock can actually push this now on the T side. Can they make it to 9? I got to be honest, a bit concerned at the start of this map. I was thinking, look, you've changed your map choice up. Fair enough. Didn't go so well yesterday. But they weren't really showing us much on Dust2. Now we're getting a bit of an idea, though, as to why they actually did decide to change the map pool. It's looking much better now on the T side for Aftershock, and quite interested to see if they can push this any further than they already have. Brace copying a bit of damage through the door there, down to 40 HP. It's obviously not an ideal buy for VERTEX.
Oh, spam straight through from Valhalla. Gets that opening pick. They do already have that long control Aftershock. Gonna throw the door smoke. Get themselves a little bit more control of Cat. Aggression from Vexite with nothing but a deagle. He's gonna get out in front of that flash, but unfortunately, a little bit awkward on the aim. I think that's the second or third no-scope from Ricky this half, but PC's found that long lurker and now has free reign to pick these players as they cross up onto A, and I actually don't mind this cancel from Aftershock. Just go back away from the AWP, back towards mid, and try to just go mid to B here.
Oh, Valiance could be a dangerous prospect if he gets his timing right. He's going to boost PZ up, and in the meanwhile, Malta's gone down. VERTEX are just a little bit too slow here, unfortunately. And they won't really be able to do too much about it. Bomb still needs to make its way into B. So there was, I suppose, a bit of a heart-stopping moment for Aftershock. But given the fact that VERTEX had stopped contesting, it was pretty much all done and dusted. Nice kill for Valiance to get, though. That'll give him an AK to hold on to for now.
I mean, it's going to give him that one tap potential win towards the last round if he holds on to it, which he won't, but realistically, it's not going to matter too much. PC saving his AWP, might be able to drop a secondary AWP over to someone. If they want to go double AWPs here, it's a possibility. But really, Aftershock, that's like 7 in a row. Very good stuff from them on this T side. PC trying to hold on. There's no incentive for Ricky not to try and go for this kill. Really trying to bait out the shot and force his way in towards Hut. Oh, I could have sworn Nikes was going to close that one out. But PZ does survive with the AWP, 5 HP.
Yep.
Gonna drop, could even drop like an additional rifle in spawn for the retake. No reason not to. He's gonna drop additional nades over. Guess he's just gonna sit on that 3K and not drop a rifle in spawn. Wouldn't have mind to see that, but you know, it's a nitpick, small nitpicky kind of thing. Looking like Aftershock going to go B. They haven't shown too much pressure on B in the earlier parts of the round. They're just going to go straight in. It's a good read. It's only Brace over here. He only goes 1 for 1. And the rotation's very far out of position for VERTEX. They were kind of stacked towards the A side of the map there.
Yeah, unfortunately for VERTEX, they probably needed a little bit more from Brace there. Now they're going to have to go for that 4-on-4 retake, and Ricky is posted on the perfect line to deal with Malta. It's really just a matter of seconds. He spots the gun barrel early as well, which makes the shot even easier to connect. And now VERTEX are going to have to go with a numbers disadvantage. At least they had a bit of util as they work their way into the site, but unfortunately, it's like running into a brick wall, and this should well be 9 for Aftershock. PZ does hit a very nice shot onto the head of Addict, but still needs to find a couple of players, and that timer, as you can hear, is ticking away very quickly indeed. Ricky will put an end to it. 9-6 at the end of the first half. Aftershock will be very pleased with that. Welcome back to the second half between Aftershock and VERTEX, and it seems we've got a bit of a change of pace compared to what we had yesterday. 9 in the first half there from Aftershock, looking pretty good.
I mean, day 1, Ricky, first half against VERTEX, 2-14. Day 2, 17-6. Bit of a difference there. Definitely playing a whole lot better today, and he said so on Twitter. He said, you're going to see a different Aftershock today. You're going to see us playing a whole lot better, and he's living by his words.
Oh yeah,
good
definitely.
First half. VERTEX, though, definitely want to get in towards that grand final and have another crack at Encore, who they took right down to the wire yesterday. They're sizing up for a bit of an A-split here, Jordan.
Yeah, I think VERTEX would be very disappointed to miss out on that grand final if they were to drop this series against Aftershock. Although, you know, I've got a degree of faith with Vertigo coming up next that VERTEX would at least be able to push this to a third if they were to drop here. And it certainly looks like they might be on their way to dropping that first map because Niquez doubling down to start off the pistol. It's not as if Aftershock really needs this pistol, but they're getting it in spades. They have barely taken any damage even. Niquez down to 90 HP is all that VERTEX could manage in that pistol. So it's just not going well for them here on Dust2.
Yeah, no plant. Makes things a little bit more difficult as well to go for these T-side forces, but VERTEX are going to give it a crack anyway, Jordan. Straight into those Deeks and armor. Couple of Tech 9s in the mix. Fair bit of util across all the boys. Let's see what they want to go for here. Seems like they're setting up for that long smoke and going straight out long. See if Niquez is going to contest here. He's getting pretty heavily flashed off the angle. The rest of the boys going straight up short, setting the pace. That's going to be heard by Ricky. Look at this elevator boost coming in. This is going to be an absolute mess for Aftershock. Niquez is alone on the site, fully flashed, but he's still delivering.
Yeah, Niquez doesn't seem to be too worried about that pressure. Inevitably, it gets a bit much for him, though, as Melter's able to take him down, but he's bought enough time for Aftershock to get the forces across, and obviously that bomb now being retrieved may end up being plantable. Grenade will dispatch of Malta. Brace has got himself an M4 in hand at the very least, but can't put it to good use, and Addict gets himself a nice MP9 kill, an upgrade to an M4 as well. So that round has gone pretty perfectly as far as Aftershock is concerned.
Yeah, deal with that force with flying colors, and has to be said as well, it wasn't the best position for them. Like, I felt like that was kind of a scissors, paper, rock for VERTEX. They were straight up short. They caught the CT's kind of elevator boosting, caught them in transition. That's exactly the kind of spot that you want to be in when you go for a pistol force like that. A bit more up-tempo. But still couldn't close the round. VERTEX looking a little flat today. No one's playing terrible, but no one's having a standout performance or anything like that.
Hugh, gonna have to get that gun in hand. Very fast attack from VERTEX, but maybe getting unstuck a little bit now that the rotation has come on through.
Yeah.
Hugh, I thought was gonna get caught for a moment, and that could have really opened the floodgates, but not gonna matter.
I think, you know, he's playing behind double there, and really it's on that CT rotator flashing over the top behind him to kind of set him up for success there. Really good team play from Aftershock. Just understanding when that B play comes in, your B anchor, he can't get it done himself, but flashes high over the top behind you really helps you out to set you up for success, buy more time for those CT rotations. And Jordan, that is a very, very clean anti-eco. Looking at Aftershock's economy, you know, 3.5k plus on all the boys. They're up 12-6. This is the kind of position that you win a game from.
Most definitely.
100%.
I mean, you have to win this game now, Aftershock, surely. Like, it would be pretty egregious to drop it here. After the series we saw yesterday against VERTEX and the fact that we sort of thought, look, it wasn't maybe their day. You now need to come into today with a bit of a statement, and I think they've got a really good opportunity to do that. If they can close this out comfortably, single digits for VERTEX, something like that, then maybe Aftershock off to the races in this series and looking for a grand final spot.
Maybe. This is where VERTEX, though, got to give them the benefit of the doubt. Very solid outfit. Still one of the best teams in Oceania. Need to make up for their lack of success on the on the T side yesterday, but this won't be the round for it. Nade stack into lower. Valhalla gets that pick on the player on long, and VERTEX very quickly find themselves in a 3-on-5 in one of these earlier gun rounds. Rest of the boys working middle, but Aftershock giving absolutely nothing to them. Really sticking to the extremities, leaning heavily on that long setup, giving up middle, giving up cat.
Ricky does well with the FAMAS to win that duel.
1 for 1 with the FAMAS, that's fine.
You'll take it for sure.
At that range as well. Terrible duel to be taking. PZ's got no armor as well, so aim punch is a big factor here. He's only glass cannoning.
Well, Niquez is not even facing. Getting a bit of info now from Valhalla, who has sort of worked his way into middle, and with that util getting tossed into A, it's going to give up the game. VERTEX is obviously headed in that direction.
Love that setup from Aftershock. That's just beautiful.
Yeah.
As soon as Valhalla takes contact, Niquez uncrouches and fights that exact same angle. Perfect. Really good stuff from Aftershock. Really perfect approach. They win those opening duels, and their 5-on-3 is just that no-nonsense approach, giving up the middle of the map, sitting back on the sites, waiting for the Ts to give you the information to rotate accordingly and punish them when they over-aggress. Another clean round, 3 guns up for Aftershock. VERTEX back down on the half-buy, and that was not the T-side gun round that you wanted to see if you're a VERTEX fan. They are starting to run out of time here. They're going to force their way out long again. Great flash coverage actually sets them up to get both of those CTs caught in transition. That's 2 rifles given over for VERTEX. This round is very winnable.
How did they cross? They've got a couple of flashes. Ricky's already progressed up. Maybe this is just a reset for VERTEX, if nothing else. But Ricky has found the timing to grab at least one, equalize those numbers. He'll be expecting more on this angle. Inevitably, Vexite is going to be able to grab that trade, but util advantage is definitely there for the CT side. And VERTEX, it sort of feels like they're stuck in no man's land here. Finally have picked the bomb back up. But I don't feel they can go forward here.
Taking their time. Vexite has picked up another flash, so he could still set up Valiance on the timing. Boost up onto the top of the site, though. Gives a bit of a different angle for Hugh, and they're just going to double peek. High, low peek. Vexite still picks up one, but now Valiant's only with the Tech 9. Oh. That's not going to be quite good enough to get it done. Hugh barely scrapes that one across the line. It was a really good attempt from VERTEX. The flash coverage was beautiful as they strafe out long there. The flashes over the top of Pit. Absolute perfection, but not quite enough for VERTEX to get across the line. Good economic damage done. You give them that, but honestly, when you're down 13-6, those are the kind of rounds that you need to start picking up to actually come back.
Unfortunately, VERTEX not able to pick it up, and that's going to give Aftershock their 14th. Might be the nail in the coffin for VERTEX as well. A bit of a confidence builder, hype builder, momentum builder for Aftershock, and it does the exact opposite for VERTEX, unfortunately. Double AWP is also out now for Aftershock.
VERTEX, man, disadvantage. They've got a lot of cat control here, but kept back by the util. Rotations are looking good. Aftershock all the way through lower dark, Jordan.
Yeah, this is fantastic from Hugh. Addict is there as well. Huge amounts of info for Aftershock. Ricky will be well prepared for the push through, but of course, with an AWP can really only get one. Oh, great shot from Valiance, dispatching of Valhalla. But the numbers have arrived for Aftershock, and that flank is in effect as well. They were expecting Addict Valiance. What on earth is this round? It's on to Nikes. And he's got the first already. Has an idea as to where Vexite might be. Knows the bomb is still on short. Spots the head and wins it as well. Oh dear, VERTEX are being given every opportunity in the last couple of rounds, but they just cannot convert any, and Aftershock now on map point.
Great resurgence from Nikes on this CT side, has to be said. I think it was like 1 and 12 at one point on T side. Just getting absolutely decked round in, round out, but that's the mentality. Man's got a lot of experience, known for his very, very good mechanical aim. Once he gets that A1S in his hands, he makes it look good. Now VERTEX, last chance saloon for them. They're going to group up in towards upper tunnels. Maybe try to get a bit of a push going on. Nikes really nicely timed HG. Should do a fair bit of chip damage, but doesn't quite go deep enough.
It's 4 damage. That's a scam.
Yeah.
Thought he was going to get a decent chunk out of that one as well, but no such luck.
Slow down. VERTEX still want to be committing in towards this upper dark push, but look at the reactive utility already ready there from Addict.
Very slow approach from VERTEX in this round.
Yeah, I mean, the smoke keeps cancelling their B push. They want to go for this B exi, but Aftershock really slowing them down. VERTEX recognizing that they might have lost some map control. They might have lost the info game. They need to keep those CT rotations honest. They apply a little bit of utility pressure to mid and cat, but that's a great mid-round push in towards Hut. That's a lot of information for Aftershock.
Every single time VERTEX wants to go anywhere, they're met by a smoke or an incend, and now some bullets as well. They're not going to check you. Valhalla has dropped. But the B defense now is going to be relied upon by Aftershock, and it goes reasonably well. Pretty well, all things considered. Bomb hasn't actually crossed into the site properly just yet, so if Valiance drops, it could be round over, but 13 seconds left. Finds the aim duel victory, and is at least able to get the plant down. Another one-on-one. Who are you backing here? Ricky, 26 and 9, been having a stellar map. Or Valiance, maybe the bright spot for Vertex in what has been a relatively dark map.
Yeah, back plat Molly is a high percentage one, but Ricky might just want to use the element of surprise and walk in with the D kit.
Oh, he's starting to run out of time, but a nicely placed Molly is going to win the round and win the map for Aftershock. That is going to be that. It's the end of the map, and of course, Aftershock are the ones walking away with the victory. Very impressive stuff, actually, from them. You know, I mean, especially after yesterday, which looked, I thought, quite rough. It didn't look, you know, like what we were expecting or what we were hoping for. It's kind of nice to see them bounce back like that.
Yeah, 100%. And I have to say, like, it wasn't any kind of crazy strats or any, like, insane structure. It was just very good mid-round calling. All of the players on this team very experienced, have got a lot of seasons of competition under their